You know, every single move you make, from lifting a coffee cup to running a marathon, can be broken down by the science of biomechanics. And really, it all comes down to two fundamental questions about how we move.
I mean, really think about it. There's the how, right? The path your arm takes, the speed you're running, the angle of your joints. And then there's the why, the actual push, the pull, the force that creates the movement in the first place. Well, these two simple questions are the perfect setup for the two branches of biomechanics we're diving into.
All right, first up, let's tackle the how. This is the world of kinematics, and it's all about describing the motion that we can actually see. Now, here's the crucial part. Kinematics observes and describes movement, but it completely ignores the forces that make it happen. It's kind of like watching a car drive down the road and only talking about its path and its speed, without ever mentioning the engine that's making it go. I absolutely love this phrase, the geometry of motion. It just perfectly captures what kinematics is all about. You look at a dancer mid-leap. Kinematics would describe the beautiful arc of that jump, the angle of their limbs, the precise timing of their movements. But it says nothing about the powerful muscular force that launched them into the air. It's purely descriptive.
So, to describe this geometry of motion, scientists use things like motion capture technology to measure these key variables. They're looking at an object's position in space, its displacement, which is just how far it's moved, its velocity, how fast it's going, and its acceleration, which is how quickly that speed is changing.
And here's a really defining feature of kinematics that you gotta remember. It doesn't matter if you're analyzing a heavy bowling ball or a feather-light ping-pong ball. If they're moving along the same path at the same speed, from a kinematic point of view, the description is exactly the same. Mass is completely irrelevant here.
This is a great way to see how scientists visualize that geometry of motion. They break down really complex actions like walking or jumping by describing them across three simple planes: the sagittal, the frontal, and the horizontal. Just think of it like a 3D grid for the human body. It allows them to get these super precise, objective descriptions of exactly how we move.
Okay, so that's the how. Now let's move on to the other side of the coin. If kinematics is the how, then kinetics, well, that's the all-important why.
So, kinetics basically picks up right where kinematics leaves off. It's not just about what the motion looks like, it's about what actually causes it. Now we're talking about the forces and torques, the real pushes and pulls that get things moving, or, for that matter, hold them perfectly still. And as you'd expect, the variables for kinetics are completely different. Scientists use tools like force plates to measure the forces acting on an object, the rotational force or torque, its mass, and the resulting energy and power. These are the actual ingredients of movement. And this is the total opposite of kinematics. In kinetics, mass is everything. And why is that? Well, it comes down to that famous equation from physics, right? Force equals mass times acceleration. You simply can't understand the force it takes to move a huge boulder versus a tiny golf ball unless you know their mass. And this is a brilliant illustration of kinetics in the real world. That box only weighs 10 pounds, but because of leverage, a kinetic concept, the force that's actually getting put on your spine is 100 pounds, 10 times the weight. That's why understanding this why, the forces involved, is so critical for staying safe. Okay, so we've looked at them separately. Now let's put them side by side to really lock in the difference between the how and the why. This table just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Kinematics, the how, describes motion, ignores forces, and doesn't care about mass. It's all about velocity and acceleration. But then kinetics, the why, explains the causes of motion, focuses on forces, and considers mass essential. Its language is all about force, mass, and energy. So this is all fascinating science for sure, but what does it actually mean for your everyday life? I mean, why should you really care about the difference between how and why you move?
Well, here's the bottom line. It's hugely important. By understanding both the geometry of your movement and the forces causing it, you can move way more safely and much more efficiently. And this applies to everything from high-performance sports to something as simple as carrying your groceries.
Let's just take a quick look at posture. It's a perfect example. Good posture, like you see on the left, aligns your body so the force of gravity is balanced and it minimizes strain. But with poor posture on the right, well, those kinetic forces get all unbalanced and they start putting enormous stress on your muscles and your spine. And this brings us to some really practical advice, all based on these principles of kinetics. Holding objects close, lifting with your legs, keeping a wide base, these aren't just random tips your parents told you. They are scientifically backed ways to manage forces and protect your body from getting injured. So, we'll end with this thought.
The next time you pick up a bag, go for a run, or even just stand up from your chair, think about it for a second. Are you focusing on the kinematics, the path of your motion, or are you thinking about the kinetics, the forces you're creating? Because understanding both, that's the real key to mastering your own movement.